Realtor.com. We got the idea for Realtor.com. We got the idea to put listings on the internet. All we needed were listings because we had the technology. Remember that kiosk slide that I showed? Well, the fella, Rich Jansen, that created the kiosk, he had the technology, and he's the one that wanted to put the listings on the World Wide Web. And so he came to Walt and I, and he said, look, let's put listings on the World Wide Web. And we thought, well, first you got to do it somewhere. You've got to get them up on the web so people can see it. And so Walt and I went back to Chicago, and we talked to the staff at the Realtors Information Network with this idea about putting listings on the internet. And everybody loved the idea. And they said, but somebody's got to go out and convince multiple listing services and realtors that they should put their listings on the internet. Because remember, one of the fears at the time was public access to MLS. And so I said, I'd be glad to go out and talk to realtors about putting their listings on the internet, but I know the first question they're going to ask me, they're going to say, who else is doing it? Because nobody wants to be first. And so I asked Richard, I said, Richard, who's going to do this first? He says, well, I've already got permission to display electronically, I'm doing it on my kiosks, the listings from the multiple listing service in San Diego. I got permission to display electronically, and nobody's defined electronically. I think the internet is electronic. And so I'm going to take these listings in San Diego, and I'm going to put them on the internet. And so, Saul, you go ahead and book your appointments to talk to other MLSs, and when they ask you who else is doing this, you can say San Diego. Now, of course, San Diego didn't really know that, and the realtors in San Diego didn't really know that, and they didn't have to pay anything for that. Richard was doing this gratis because it was a beta. And my first appointment to go out and talk about it was in Austin, Texas. And I went to Austin, Texas. David Foster was the executive officer, and Bill Stansbury was the president. And I was a trial run for me. At least I thought it was a trial run because I hadn't done this. And I put my slide presentation, black and white, acetate overheads, to explain to people what the World Wide Web was and what the internet was and how listings were going to go there and how they were going to get ads and how they were going to get leads from this. And they were going to get traffic directed back to them. And then they asked me to leave the room, and I left the room, and then they asked me to come back about 15 minutes later, and they said, fine. Now, it wasn't going to be free. It was going to cost $2 per listing per month. Austin, the first association, they were going to have to pay $2 a listing per month. Now, the idea was agents would pay, brokers would pay $2 a listing per month. The Austin Association, so progressive and so forward-looking, they said, this is so important that we, the Austin MLS, we're going to pay the $2 a listing a month so all of our brokers and agents can have their listings on this new site, Realtor.com. So the first contract, they called me back in. They said, Saul, we're ready. We'll sign the contract. I didn't have a contract. So what good salesman goes to sales meetings without a contract? And I'll say, one, wasn't confident he was going to get a deal. And we hadn't put the contract together. But we put the contract together. The first one to agree to pay us and to go up on the internet was the Austin Association of Realtors. They were the real pioneers. And the theme was exclusivity. Remember, there were only 20 million people on the web. If listings were appearing all over the place, we didn't think people would find them on the site that we thought was the right site, the realtor-friendly site. So we said, look, we're going to take all the listings in the country. We're going to put them in one site. Kind of like the Super Bowl. The NFL doesn't put the Super Bowl on 15 different channels. They put the Super Bowl on one channel. Everybody learned to watch the Super Bowl on one channel. And now they charge something like $5 million for 30-second ad spots on the Super Bowl. And we believe that everybody wants to shop for homes. Everybody loves homes. If we put the listings in one place on a site we own, we'll put it up there. It'll be exclusive. People will be driven there. All the leads will go back to the listing agents. As a matter of fact, what we were afraid of was that buyer brokers, and that was a new kind of thing at the time, would kind of complain that the only ones getting exposure were the listing agents. That's who we were afraid of back then. We thought would have a political issue. And so we started to go out and get contracts from MLSs and put those listings up. And the idea, again, was that it be exclusive and not spread out all over the internet. And so the first portals were Realtor.com, and then Home Seekers was another portal. They started up in Orange County, and they were getting listings. And Cyber Homes that was actually created by one of the MLS vendors. And Home Advisor, that was actually created by Microsoft. That was Bill Gates' entry into this space. And Homes.com, and these were the first generation listing portals. And then we were working with Realtor.com, and we were pushing for, don't put your listings on these other sites, put them on Realtor.com, because then we'll train people to find the listings on Realtor.com. And this was the first Realtor.com website. Attractive. Home search. Broker agent services, other services, community information. So there is a look at the first site. So